All right, we are rolling. Well, this is SANDCAST, everybody. Beach volleyball with Bourne and Travis Mewhirter. Tri is still taking a small vacation break. He's been barely doing anything out in Cancun for the last 3 weeks. Barely played any volleyball, and he actually recorded an episode himself with Evie. But so it's just me and Florida State veteran, not too old though, Sara Putt.
Woo.
How are we, Sara?
Doing great. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you for coming on. Now you are at the end of what is technically what you're like 5th year in Tallahassee.
My 6th year total, but
okay, your total, because you had a redshirt year and then the COVID nothing year, right?
Yeah, those are my 2 extra. Yeah.
Okay. Does it feel like you've been there for so long?
Yeah, it hasn't. Like, it's definitely flown by. But it was nice because in the fall I got to kind of be in Orlando and get that little break.
Yeah.
But Tallahassee, it grows on you eventually. So
yeah.
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. So you enrolled in Florida State in 2016.
Yeah, I did.
Was it 2015 and 2016 or 2016-17?
My freshman year was at Stetson, and that finished 2016. And then I enrolled in the fall of 2016 to Florida State.
I forgot you went to Stetson.
Yes, my freshman year.
I didn't know. I forgot you started there.
Yeah, I had a good start there. We had a pretty good run at the ones.
Yeah.
And then that's why I redshirted when I transferred. It was like part of the transfer thing.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, so which was unfortunate, but it all worked out in the end.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who'd you play with at Stetson?
I played with this like gnarly 5th year. Her name was Vendi. She was from Czech.
Okay.
But she was like an all-American indoor player, and I always called her Babichka, which means grandma in Czech. She hated it. And now I'm like been a senior for 3 years. So. Yeah. So it's funny, but yeah, I had a good year in there and stuff, so nothing bad to say there. But
yeah, was well, how come you transferred? Because I mean, DeLand is not that far from Tallahassee. What prompted the move to Florida State?
So it's like it was just a combination of my academics, athletics, and like the way I grew up. So I really wanted to play on like I wanted to play for like Coach Brooke and stuff, and for a bigger program. And then also I had like when I grew up, Florida State was like always my dream school, just growing up in South Florida because my mom went there.
Okay.
But when I was getting recruited, it was with the old coach and stuff, so it just like didn't work out. And then also I wanted to do the nutrition program that is at Florida State, so it all just kind of like worked out that way. And but I had a good year at Stetson. It was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's definitely, I love that, like places like Florida or Maryland, I think it's so cool because you grow up like loving the one big state school. I guess in Florida, you kind of have 2 choices between UF and FSU. But Maryland, like we grew up, like all I ever wanted to do was go to University of Maryland. It's the only, I applied to that in West Virginia. That was it. Virginia
oh my gosh.
Safety school. And I'm sure that you were kind of the same way where you were just like, it's FSU. And like, that's number one. If you had that chance, I'm sure you're taking it.
Yeah, exactly. That's funny. We actually have family friends. Isn't the mascot like the Terrapins?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Cause they're all from Baltimore. They're like diehard Ravens fans. And they would like give me gear, like shirts with Terrapins all the time. That's so fun. Probably not saying it right.
No, you said it right. You nailed it.
Yeah. But yeah, so I like grew up in the garnet and gold and stuff, and just kind of worked out. And then coach, and then we got like ended up getting Jason and stuff too. So
yeah,
it's now I've been here for so long, and like it's kind of I'm just used to it. But I try to like think back to when I was younger, and I was like so stoked to like go to Florida State and stuff.
Yeah, we were just talking about like all the good coaches in Florida. But I mean, how about all the good coaches just at Florida State? Like you worked with Brooke Niles, who was an awesome player, and now I feel like she's the conference coach of the year every year. And then your assistant is Jason Lockhead, who works with Phil and Nick, like one of the best American teams ever. And then your volunteer assistant is Johnny Justice,
Yeah.
who's so great. And then you get Nick, who helps out from time to time, right?
Yeah, every once in a while. Not as much as he used to more.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like pretty stacked. I love them. It's so great. I can't like say enough good things. I try to like, it just, you get like used to seeing them every day. So it just like becomes normal.
Yeah.
But I try to remember how awesome they all are and stuff and how great it is. I mean, it's easy to remember because like our practices are so great, like all the drills and stuff we do. It's funny. So like we'll like do a practice and stuff, and then we'll like I'll see like game or practice footage of like Phil and Nick doing the same drill.
Yeah.
And like we'll do it and we'll get like 6 out of 10 of the reps like perfect, and they'll get like 10 out of 10 reps like just so clean and stuff. So
And they make it look so effortless. Like you watch Phil play and it's like, is he even trying? And then everything he does is perfect. It's like, oh well, that's just Phil.
it's wild. Yeah. Like watching some of those Cancun matches is just surreal. And that was in the wind and with that like Mikasa ball. So
Yeah.
they should put like an average person in there just for reference.
That would be pretty funny, especially like with how windy. So I guess what Tri was saying is that the tournaments got less windy with each one. Because I don't know if you watched that first one, but that was crazy. Like I've never seen that level of player.
Yeah.
Like it was like jungle ball. They're just like, just keep it off the floor, basically. And
I know.
by the third one, it was good volleyball again. But that would be funny just to put a normal person out there, or just like throw 2 people out there to try to pass Adrian skyballs just to see what happens.
Exactly. I'd love to see that. I mean, even the pro players can hardly pass it and stuff. It's so gnarly.
Yeah. Did you watch Phil and Nick's bronze medal match against him?
No, they were just talking about it today, but I heard it was pretty tough.
It was hilarious because I think Nick and Adrian and Phil all have a pretty good relationship because they grew up like playing in Florida. And so like they have that kind of mutual respect for one another. And so Nick and Adrian were just like banting back and forth the whole time. Yeah.
So fun. I remember like growing up watching Adrian skyball at Dig the Beaches.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought it was like a cool thing that he like just a fun player to watch. And now it's been cool to see him like go to the Olympics, and a lot of the people down here like knew him like pretty well. Yeah. I was too young to know him, but it's cool.
So you grew up in Jupiter, which like is southeast Florida?
Yeah, it's like an hour north of Fort Lauderdale. So
okay.
I'd always drive down there and play and stuff.
So you grew up playing beach?
Yeah, I like kind of lived the dream in high school because I started playing like with a women's group, and I like saved up and got a car, and I would just like go to tournaments every weekend and That's like awesome. Drive all over the state in high school with my friends. And I kind of had like an out with my mom. Like if I was going to play volleyball, I could like be gone for as long as I wanted. So it was so fun. Yeah, really, those were good days. And then the NVL was like also kind of going on in Florida.
Yeah.
So I got some like cool experience and stuff. So I grew up like playing more like open tournaments in Florida than like junior tournaments and doing like the whole club thing.
Yeah.
So I was like good at all the strategy and kind of like game stuff and like how to, make a game plan and everything. But then like my technique was horrible. Like I didn't learn how to kick out until I got to college, and it's like crazy. So.
But I feel like that's the way to go. Just like you going into it, like open tournaments, just seeing the highest level in the state, which in Florida is a pretty high level. So even though you might have this kind of like homegrown style of play that, Brooke and Jason could refine later, I feel like you probably came in as a pretty dang good player just from all the experience you had.
Yeah, I wasn't sure how to measure myself because I like didn't really get to play a lot of the top juniors. But yeah, it was, I think like the game teaches itself to a degree. So yeah. And then after my freshman year, we did pretty good. We got All-American and stuff at the end of it, which was sick because I didn't think that was going to happen. And we like made the 8th seed at nationals.
Yeah.
At freshman year, that was like the first NCAA year. But I made this USA like A1 group, and Barb Fontana was coaching it. And she was just like drilling the approach footwork into my head every rep. And I would like just totally miss the ball at first. But you live and you learn. So
You learn, and I'm sure that that you have learned quite a good deal in your time at Florida State.
yeah, it's insane. But also like you don't really feel like you're getting better like in the day to day. But then like you go back and watch film from like a year or two ago.
It's so funny. I
Yeah.
think like watching old film or just like reading old journals or whatever you do to kind of like keep memories. And it's like, okay, I am getting better no matter how slow it feels. Progress is happening.
It's so true. Cause I mean, you've probably seen like the graphs where it's like you think improvement happens like this, but it's actually like,
Yeah.
so I mean, I think that's like a really valuable thing actually is to go back and like kind of pat yourself on the back for improvement. Cause it's just so easy to like harp on like what you're doing wrong all the time.
Yeah.
That's something I've actually had to like, that's like a skill in itself is like taking time to kind of celebrate when you improve.
Yeah. And especially, I mean, with how good you guys are at Florida State too. Because I feel like for you guys, is it almost an expectation for you to win conference at this point, even though LSU's in that conference? Like you guys have won what, like 5, 6 straight?
Yeah, 5 straight now. It gets harder every single year because LSU's been getting better, but just the whole conference, like TCU is really good this year too. And yeah, that's the goal, always to win it. And every year we're just kind of like, are we gonna win it again? And we've been able to pull it out and stuff. So I don't know. I think, yeah.
So your freshman year was what, the first year that it went from AVCA to NCAA?
Yes.
Okay.
So full timing. I actually got to play the first ever nationals match because it was the 1 seed versus the 8th seed.
Okay.
This is just like a fun historical fact that I'm old and I like to bring up. But FSU was the 1 seed and Stetson was the 8th seed, and I got to play Jace Pardon. It was like the first ever nationals match. It was like so cool. It was like, this is the coolest thing ever. So, but yeah, I'm old, man. Like,
what degree are you about to get? So you have your undergrad. Are you about to get your master's or like one step beyond that? I feel like you're like way up there in the medical schooling.
Yeah, I like try not to. So I'm doing nutrition. My like it's called dietetics, which is just nutrition.
Okay.
And I got an undergrad and then a master's, which is 2 years. So
okay,
it worked perfect that I got another year of eligibility because I was graduating this May anyways.
Yeah. So are you like the team nutritionist?
Sometimes our team is like really healthy on their own. If anything, I have to like tell them to eat burgers more often. But yeah, sometimes I like try to remind them about just little things. But we have a sports RD for the school and stuff, so I try to stay in my lane unless it's like asked of me. But
well, in this textbook, I just read that we should actually eat this on the road. So
yeah. Well, it's crazy. Like I'll be researching something and see a paper about how nutrition and sleep is like proven to enhance performance so much more than like ice bathing or stretching and rolling or like any recovery stuff. Like if you're not eating right and sleeping, it's like that stuff's not going to help you.
Yeah. And that's what nutrition is like my latest kind of rabbit hole I'm going on with books. Like last year, every year, it's kind of like I go down some other rabbit hole. It's like last year, like with COVID and everything, I was like trying to figure out different ways to make passive income. So I just read real estate books, like all of them. And then this year, I'm on nutrition. And have you ever read anything or heard anything by Mark Hyman?
Oh, is that the Primal?
He wrote, he wrote this thing called the Pegan diet. He's like, it's a mix between paleo and vegan. He's like, it's not one extreme or the other. It's just like a happy medium. And so I'm just like reading all of his stuff and just like figuring out what is the most anti-inflammatory things I could eat while and how can I figure this out? And so that's my latest kick.
Awesome. Yeah, there's so many good books out there.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
hard because there's so many things that like contradict other things, and they're all like
right.
well cited. And I'm sure you ran into this problem a bit in school, where just like this thing's well cited, and then you have this argument that contradicts that one, but that's also backed by all this research. And I'm like, well, none
Yeah.
of this, none of this is clear.
Nutrition is like one of the most crazy, like controversial sciences because it's hard, first of all, to study because everybody processes things differently. Like some people's bodies work better off carbs and some people's bodies work better off fats. And there's just whole other like things that aren't taken into consideration when they like even pick people for studies.
Yeah.
Also, it depends how far you want to get into the rabbit hole of like um, how bad like processed foods are and like a lot of like for example you'll find like a study that says that milk is like really good for you but it'll be sponsored by like the dairy council or like Coke sponsors all these and like Kraft foods and stuff they sponsor research so it's like you really have to weed through a lot to get to like um but honestly I think it's just about balance between like lifestyle and how much time you want to put into your nutrition and like you could have a perfect diet but it could take you like 40 hours a week to like prep and budget and
Yeah.
everything so I mean yeah just I think trying to eat as fresh as you can it's always
Yeah.
it's common sense to a degree like trying to eat vegetables trying not to eat things that have been processed so
Yeah.
but
Have
it's
you
exciting.
have you found like a correlation? Because I know that Brooke has you guys wearing the Whoop bands. Have you found like a correlation between what foods work for you with recovery? And obviously, there's a lot of variables between like how hard you lift and the mental strain of tests and exams and whatnot. But I didn't know if you had found anything.
Oh, um, that's a good question. Not necessarily with Whoop, and I don't know if it really affects your your recovery as like what you're eating. But I do know, like specifically for female athletes, we need different amounts of food depending what like menstrual phase we're in.
Right.
Sorry, I was talking about growth. You have a lot.
We have a lot of female listeners.
But so that's been interesting is like some of my friends are actually doing research like um the week before your period you need like 500 calories more a day and then the week after you need 500 calories less and it makes sense because a lot of girls like there's just such big fluctuation that like how hungry we are and it's like natural and stuff so that's just been cool for female athletes like there's a lot of female athletes like struggling with body image and eating disorders and stuff and that's not in beach volleyball that's like in all sports there's a bunch of research on it so I'm actually kind of looking into like how I can kind of take some of the research and like put it into like something that's helpful.
Yeah,
But I'm really passionate about it. You know, I think it's important to have a healthy relationship with food
for sure.
when you're a female athlete because our bodies do such awesome things and stuff. So
Yeah. I know that, well, Kim Hildreth, who you're obviously good friends with down in Florida, she's big into nutrition now. I think she just passed some certification exam. And
yeah,
I don't know the names of all these things. I feel like there's so many different certificates and like certifications and stuff. But
yeah,
I'm sure that you guys have probably chatted a good bit about it.
yeah. She's awesome, and she's like really working like one-on-one with people and stuff. I think she's doing more like health coaching and stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, stoked for her, and she doesn't have to coach as much and stuff.
And
But
that's always good.
yeah, there's so many like certifications in nutrition and stuff, but um, RDs are supposed to be like the experts, but also RDs are kind of trained to work in like schools and hospitals and like government
Okay.
stuff or like with sports teams. So it's kind of there's a lot of different ways you can go with it, which is good.
Yeah. But that's cool that you got to learn a skill set that is going to help you with your career as an athlete in terms of like, the best foods or at least an optimal diet that you're going to be putting in your body? Because I feel like a lot of people on the beach, they're just like, yeah, I'll eat like an egg McMuffin and French fries,
Yeah,
and then just roll out to a match. And I'm like, that can't be great.
it's crazy, like the range of nutrition that some of the people, like you see some people like bringing their own like huge salads and like in their coolie packs to tournaments, like eating so clean, and then other people are like going through the drive-through, and it doesn't necessarily always correlate with how you finish either.
I know. It's crazy. Like I'll watch, we'll go to like a Fuds, for example,
Yeah.
and I'll just see people just be absolute dumpsters and just throw every bad thing into their body and just be,
Yeah.
and like guys on my own team, like Cody Caldwell, I'm like, dude, you slept 2 hours in the last 3 days combined, and you weren't drinking water the whole time, and you weren't eating vegetables, and yet here you are just like bouncing 50 balls in a row. Like,
Yeah.
that's good for you.
It's strange. Well, even I was talking with Tori about this because she feels very strongly about like getting a burger in every once in a while and stuff, and kind of I think people can sometimes try to eat like too healthy to a degree.
Yeah.
And just like, making sure you're getting your calories in and stuff. And she was saying, I guess, this is like third hand information now, but I guess Jenny Johnson Jordan, when she was at UCLA, told Tori that like they would like go to McDonald's and stuff when they were playing on the world tour. And it was like, cause it's the same like all over the world, the McDonald's. So I was like, that's kind of smart. And it's like cheap and you can get your calories in. So I like would be curious to see how many world tour players like eat good or bad.
Yeah. Well, apparently in the Beijing Olympics, Usain Bolt, all he ate was chicken McNuggets because he was like, this is what I
Did
know.
he get paid to say that though?
Huh?
Did he get like a check from McDonald's?
He might have. And like, who knows if that story's true, but I've heard it like told a bunch of times. Like, I don't know, but I feel like some people can just deal with it and just be totally fine.
That's true. Yeah, if he's doing that, then like something.
Yeah, because I think at some point, especially like beach volleyball players, we burn so many calories. At some point, it's just like you need a certain amount coming back in. And while the sources are important, a lot of the importance is just like, are we getting enough so we're not just wilting?
Yeah, exactly. And like, there's also research of like your digestive system is like accustomed to certain foods. So like changing your whole diet too quick can be sometimes not good. Like sometimes it's good to just eat the same thing, even if it's like a PB&J or whatever.
Right.
And just make changes slowly and stuff. But
yeah. Well, you kind of have a personal life change coming up in that you're finally finished school. You went from having like no free time to a decent amount of free time, which I feel like is good timing for you coming up with Gulf Shores, which is Florida State's. You guys have made it every single year that there's been a national championship, which is pretty awesome. And now Florida State is the only school that can say that, because it was you guys and Pepperdine, and this is the first year ever that Pepperdine did not make it. So congrats to Florida State and you for making it again. You guys are the big badass 3 seeds.
Going all.
This year, like compared to the other years, I was talking to like Kristen, Nuss, and Savvy before the year began, and they were like, this year is going to be like the super year because everyone's back.
Yeah.
And like, have you noticed that like, has this year been one of the toughest or most talented or like highest quality in terms of volleyball you've seen in the NCAA?
Yeah, absolutely. Every team is just so much deeper this year. Like there's been some crazy teams before, but there's just so much more talent. And I mean, obviously I think experience is it's like great to have an extra year of experience, and now everybody has an extra year of experience and stuff. So, but then I don't know, sometimes I think like if people were quarantining all year and stuff, maybe it's hard for them to come back and stuff. But I feel bad for all the freshmen coming in this year. Like true freshmen. I want to know how many true freshmen are playing this year, honestly.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it's too many.
Well, are you currently playing with a true freshman?
Oh yeah, that's true. I am playing with the true freshman.
Because Raylan White is who you've been playing with recently. I know you didn't play the whole season with her. You played a lot with Maddie Anderson, right?
Right. Yep.
Okay.
Love
When did
them
that
both.
switch happen that you started playing with Raylan?
Um, Probably like 3 weeks ago. We've like made a couple shifts like gradually to our lineup, but I think it was our home tournament. I don't know. It's all a blur.
Yeah,
But yeah, our almost our whole lineup has changed except Tori and Kira are still together. So
yeah.
that's been strong.
It's been funny to see like the coaches, because I feel like some coaches will wait until, like, say you guys in USC, you'll play each other in a normal season a handful of times, but I feel like, say USC, like Dane probably won't show you the lineup that he's going to play at Gulf Shores before he goes there. I don't know. I feel like coaches like wait to make these changes until like a little bit later, and then nobody's seen you guys in the lineup that you currently have.
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely some strategy there as far as like it's just nice to have film on people, and if
Right.
you move somebody around there's no film. But I don't know, I feel like in the past like USC and UCLA would like never change their lineups, but that's just also because they were always had like stacked teams. But
Now everyone's stacked. It's awesome to
and
watch.
everybody's lineups changing a lot, it seems like.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be, I think this year is just like so like anybody's game, I think personally.
Yeah.
But, I forgot the other part of the question.
Well, so you're playing with the true freshman, Caitlin, or Raylan. Sorry, Caitlin Moon playing?
No,
Okay.
unfortunately.
Okay, because she's also a true freshman, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I remember I did a story on them because they played a bunch of juniors events growing up, and I think I did a story on them, like both committing.
Yeah, they're both studs.
But how was it, like as a player, how is it when say Brooke changes the lineup and does the coach talk to you and say, hey, like, what would you think about this? Or does Brooke just say, hey, you're going to play with Caitlin or Raylan? Sorry.
Yeah. It like depends on the situation. Like, I think most of the time they have conversations with people that are going in and out, just like one-on-one. And then sometimes they have to make changes quick if it's like in between matches on a game day. And then sometimes it's like we have a whole week to practice and stuff. And yeah, most of the time they're like, hey, how do you feel about this? How do you feel about that? But then also other times you just have to trust them. So it's kind of like it goes both ways.
Yeah.
But I mean, we just in those times like trust our training and trust you can play with anybody and get out there and get the job done. So
yeah. And I'm sure that like in practice you've probably played against all of like everyone so much that that's another way of getting to know someone's game as well.
Yeah, we all like know each other so well at this point. But
yeah.
So yeah, it's been good. Little couple changes around, but I mean Raylan's awesome. Like I forget she's a freshman because she's so like mentally mature. Like she's the one that's always keeping score and like telling me what the drills are at practice. I'm also just bad at listening to Jason because his accent, he like wears a mask and it's so monotone. I'm like, I have to like really concentrate. But yeah, Raylan's like on top of it, and she's played like tons of open tournaments in Florida and stuff.
Yeah. I feel like you're coming full circle here. You started as a true freshman playing with a super senior, and now you're the super senior playing with a true freshman.
Yeah, that's true. I know. I like sometimes forget how old I am, and I'm like, oh yeah, Sarah, you have to be the leader. Like, wake up, you know?
Yeah.
Can't just cruise and stuff. So yeah, it's been good.
Yeah. So when you leave for Gulf Shores, your first match is Friday, correct? Against Stanford.
Yeah.
And so when are you guys heading out?
We leave Wednesday, and then I think we do like everybody does a practice day on Thursday, and then we play. So
yeah, it's exciting. And so you guys do you drive? I'm assuming you take a bus.
Yeah, we take the bus.
Okay.
We've actually we're lucky. We've like played there twice this year.
Okay.
Coach obviously did that on purpose, so we're kind of used to the trip. And yeah, We'll stay at those. It's so funny. They never talk about this, but the like hotel condos that they put the teams in at the tournament are like the oldest, like craziest little condos because there's like a king bed and then there's bunk beds.
Yeah.
And then there's like a pull-out couch. So every year it's like an ordeal to see if people are going to sleep in the bunk beds or not. Because people are like children. But it's really nice. You're like right next to the courts and everything. So
Yeah.
we're still waiting to hear, like, there's a whole ticket ordeal going on. I'm sure you've seen.
I have seen that. I've had so many people like text me and be like, hey, like you need to write a story like bashing the NCAA for this. And I don't know entirely what's going on. So it seems like it's a bubble event, kind of like the other ones, but I guess this one they're not allowing fans. And I know that, so there's no media access because we had our press credentials like kind of not denied, but they were like, hey, we're just not allowing press in. We can set you up with Zoom calls with the athletes. And we're like, oh, like great, that's the exact same thing as being there.
Yeah, I know. I've seen a lot of like, it's pretty crappy they're doing that to the media because that's not even that many people to let in stuff.
Yeah. So what else is going on? I know that, so are they restricting the teams? Like how many players can come from each team?
That's the part I'm confused on because they usually in the past years they pay for, or they like have 12 people come, and then if you have more than 12 people on your roster, then your school has to pay for the rest.
Okay.
So I think that part is actually the same. It's just up to the schools of how many people you want to bring.
Okay.
But then people are saying that once you get there, there's like a tier 1, which is like starters and coaches and maybe a couple extra that are allowed. Like it's like in the strictest bubble.
Okay.
You get like tested more and you are like even more isolated. And then there's like a tier 2 for like the rest of the team. I don't know. It's all complicated. I'm probably not the best person to explain it, but
well, I feel like everyone has a different explanation for like what it is. So I don't really think anyone knows exactly what's going on.
Yeah, I think people are just mad at they like haven't put as much effort that they could have. Like they could make it safe with and allow everybody in.
Yeah.
That's the argument.
Yeah.
And if that's true, then that's like, messed up and stuff. But
yeah,
I have no idea how all this stuff works.
Me neither, because I was trying to think, because people were saying, well, like a lot of people made the argument, well, it's just because like they're just being lazy, or it's like a men versus women thing. And I was like, I don't know if it's necessarily like lazy or any of that. I think I don't really know what the reason would be. Might be more cost effective. I don't know, but it seems kind of messed up that they would have like fans allowed at NCAA indoor, both like men and women. Basketball gets a bubble, women's basketball gets a bubble, and then beach is just like, oh, you guys just go to the beach. No one else.
Exactly. Yeah.
Especially because it's such a fast growing sport. It's literally the fastest growing it's ever had. So you'd think they'd try to keep that momentum going.
I know. I feel like every time we turn, like beach volleyball has to try to make sure we're fighting for our fair share of like media stuff. It's just like always a struggle with the sport, which makes no sense to me because I think it's like the most fun sport to watch. I think it's so exciting.
Yeah.
And there was like a stat, the indoor national championship was like the highest viewed thing on ESPN2 for like months.
Yeah, I knew it. I saw the comparison was, I didn't read the full thing, but they had more viewers than the MLB's opening day.
That's insane.
It's pretty awesome. Like that's great.
Yeah.
And so people like watching volleyball. That's just, it's a fact.
Yeah.
And for last year, because I was putting together like a little media kind of proposal, and the World Championships in Hamburg got more viewers, like way more viewers than the Super Bowl. Which
wow.
Yeah, which is like a little skewed because the Super Bowl is one day in one country, whereas World Championships is like a week and a half, and it's so many different countries. So it's a little skewed in that way. But I mean, the numbers it was a pretty big difference between how many more World Championships got, which is awesome.
Like American views or just total views?
Total.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously it has a much bigger potential reach, but I was like, oh, I mean, Super Bowl's pretty dang big event. That's awesome that World Championships had a bigger pull.
Yeah. It's crazy like how big volleyball is like culture wise in some of the other countries and stuff.
Yeah.
Like I know Brazil and like Europe indoor is so crazy. So
Yeah.
hopefully America will get there.
Hopefully.
They have that indoor pro league, I think, starting up for women.
That Athletes Unlimited thing. Have you seen that?
That sounds so familiar.
So it's this indoor league where they got enough players to form either 4 or 6 teams, I forget, but it was so each week was new. So you'd get 2 team captains, or team captains would draft their own teams,
Oh.
and then they'd play, but then the next week the highest scoring handful of players would then draft teams for the next weekend, and then they do it all over again. So it was new, and everything was based on individual statistics, and so it was interesting, and they got like big sponsors for it, and I think it was really well done.
Oh, nice.
So we're trying everything we can.
Yeah. Seems that way. Seems that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any volleyball content, the more the better.
Yeah, absolutely. So you have Stanford coming up on Friday. So the schedule is Friday is there's 8 teams in. So it's UCLA is the one, USC, you guys, LSU,
And then LMU,
Stanford,
Cal Poly.
Poly's 7, and TCU's 8.
No, I know TCU plays UCLA, so they must be.
Okay, so that would be the 1-8. All right, I just pulled it up. So we have UCLA plays TCU, LMU plays LSU, which is the 4-5. You play Stanford, which is the 3-6, and then Poly plays USC, which is the 7-2.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good day. I think like 3 of the teams, it's their first time ever going to nationals.
That's awesome.
Which is cool. Yeah, like LMU, Stanford, and TCU.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so there's a lot of shifting going on.
College Beach is moving up.
I know.
And then your mainstays, USC, UCLA, just always there. Yeah,
top 4 haven't really changed around. That's why that weekend when we all played each other was like so crazy.
Yeah.
In another year, in a normal year, hopefully we'd get to play each other a little bit more.
Yeah.
But
that East meets West would have been a huge one this year if it could have happened.
Yeah, I know, because there's also some like debate, some of the East Coast schools. There's like the top 4 and then a chunk of West Coast schools and then a chunk of East Coast schools.
Yeah.
So there's like all the East Coast schools down here are like kind of arguing like that they could be up there and stuff. So, but it's hard to know.
Right. And that's why, so I think that at some point the playoff pool will expand. And I think that this year will probably make as good of an argument as any, because I think that LMU is good enough to beat basically anybody as the 5 seed. And I don't think that there's been a 5 seed that strong.
Yeah.
In a long time. And with LSU at the 4, I mean, obviously they're as good as it gets. But the real question is like, so the East Coast has yet to win a national championship. So could this year be number 1, Putt?
That's what we're going for. Yeah, I feel like this is the year. It's a 3rd time. Hopefully it will be the charm of us making it like all the way to the finals and stuff. But, we're trying to take it one match at a time. We've been like, that's our goal. Bring home the natty to the East and stuff. So, just trying to make it happen. Trying to stay very like process oriented.
Yeah, I hear that. Does Brooke do a good job of keeping you guys kind of focused and centered on just like, let's just win this point and not say look past Stanford, for example, and looking forward to like a potential semifinal versus USC?
Yeah, pretty. I mean, they're like really great like technical and strategic coaches, so like they're focused on our matchups and stuff. I mean, obviously we're stoked every time we get to play USC and UCLA. We're always trying to take them down and stuff, so it'll just be exciting. But I mean, that East versus West weekend, I think Julia Scholes was out of the lineup for USC.
Okay.
So their pairs have changed and stuff, but I mean, everybody's pairs have changed pretty good.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's been fun to kind of keep track of and watch, and you had a heck of a year. You finished what, like 32-3 as an individual?
I don't know, actually.
It
It
was
might be up there.
impressive. I was looking up the records. I mean, you were 33-3. Sorry, I gypped you by one. 33-3 on
Nice.
4. So congratulations on another 30-win season. You've had a lot of wins, Sarah. You had what, 32 as a freshman, 32 as a redshirt sophomore, 28 in 2019. You did get one big win in 2020.
Just one. I had a broken hand, so I was out at the beginning of last season, but I was undefeated.
You were undefeated. And then another 30 wins. I mean, you've had a heck of a career. Like, I know obviously you're not looking to reflect just yet, because you still have a very big weekend coming up, but have you like taken time to process like what a cool career you've had? Just like, one, with the timing, it being the first NCAA year when you started playing the first match ever in an NCAA championship, and then to just like how much you've won and seen like Florida State and NCAA grow.
Yeah, it's been cool. I've like a little bit I've processed it. It's been like a huge blessing, honestly. Just to be able to play. It's easy when like you love it to keep playing and stuff. But I mean, a lot of those wins are like we play a lot of matches.
You do.
In a season. Like I think we've played like 6 more matches than the other like top teams. So it's like nice every once in a while to be like, Sarah, that's a lot of volleyball. Good job. And like every time you play like a team, no matter who it is, like they're gonna play their best against you. They're gonna one ball you, and it's like never gonna be. We always say like no easy buckets. So
yeah, like that.
Yeah, every game's a battle.
Yeah. Well, have you thought about what your next couple steps look like after college? In terms of, because I know obviously like you're passionate about dietetics and nutrition, and that degree did not come easy, and you obviously probably want to put it to use, but I feel like you're so good at volleyball and you love it. It seems that you love it enough that you'd also want to pursue that side of things. And it's always that tricky balance that people find.
Yeah, it is a balance. I'm like, well, I was talking to some other seniors and like other sports, and when they graduate college, they kind of like retire from their sport.
Yeah.
And they have like this closure of like, okay, I'm done being an athlete. And I'm like kind of envious because I'm like, I'll never have that, you know?
Right.
But it's also awesome because like I know I'm gonna play volleyball till I like can't walk anymore. I'm gonna be that old lady like one balling.
Bitch, good putt.
So, yeah. Because I don't know, it's like everybody that plays this sport, like it's just so fun and I love it. So it just the question is like at what level, how high of a level am I going to try to, get to, and how much time do I want to kind of devote to volleyball versus, one day having a career, starting a family and all that stuff. So
right.
I think it'll just kind of be a balance. I feel old, but I'm actually like pretty young. So it's like, if I want to set some big goals to like do well in the AVP or play international, I think that would be really cool. And that's something, I don't know. It's like beach volleyball. It's such a like self-motivated sport. Like you find your own partner, you find your own coach, your own PT. You kind of have to set everything up. And if you don't set it up, it's just not going to happen.
Right. Exactly.
So yeah, I'm just going to try to figure that out. I don't know. I like don't really think I've peaked yet skill wise. So
I think you're probably pretty far from your peak. I think you probably have a decent way to go before you're really peaking. And that's not saying that you're bad now, but I think that you just have so much room to grow, and you're so good already.
Thank you for saying that. I hope so. I don't really know. It's like the way I think about sports is I'm always trying to get better and like be my best. I read like a lot of John Wooden stuff, and it's all about like, how can you be your best? How can you reach your potential as an athlete, as a person? And it's not necessarily about like beating other people or like whatever, but like kind of my journey. So I don't know. Well, if I feel like, but also it's hard to know if you've gotten to that point, and um, how much are you willing to sacrifice to be an athlete? I mean, so, but I mean, you've done a good job, I think, of setting your life up to play and write and stuff. So I think you have the balance kind of worked out pretty good.
Yeah, it's I lucked into it kind of where it was just like, well, no one's doing this, so I can do them both at the same time. And so I'm lucky that my job and playing they go hand in hand, because even like if I go to a tournament and lose first round, I'm still not going to lose money because I get paid to go write about it. So it's kind of like it makes no sense for me not to play because
Yeah.
the job's like directly tied to it. So I'm really fortunate in that respect, in that they're just completely tied together, which is fun.
Yeah. So awesome. And it's like fun you're like more storytelling,
Yeah,
kind of the way you write. And it's fun because I don't think that there's that much of that in the sport. And there's so many stories to tell. So
there are.
appreciate all that.
Huge volleyball players, like their stories are so cool. And because
Yeah.
everyone is always trying like to find that balance that we're talking about here between like, well, you have like your sort of quote unquote real life and your job and your career and your family, and then you have this just like Peter Pan beach.
Yeah, exactly. That's how it feels. So I know in like the past, I mean, 10 years since I was 14, it's like been school and volleyball and like managing the two. And now it's going to be kind of work and volleyball. And then how much do I want to work and what kind of job can I get? Or do I get a better job and play volleyball less? Or do I get kind of remote, whatever, BS part-time job and like play all the time? So, I mean, I'll figure that out when I get there. But
Yeah,
I think it's just cool that anybody can kind of be a pro if you apply yourself.
yeah. And so you'll have your chance soon enough. But for now, it's Stanford's next up on Friday. Um, so I know that you have a busy schedule over there, so I won't keep you too much longer. But is there anything else that you wanted to mention or bring up before I let you go?
No, I don't think so. I'm excited to get to talk to you. I didn't hear your full question. My internet cut out.
Oh, I was just saying, I know I've had you here for like an hour, so I try not to take more than an hour of people's time.
Okay.
But so you guys have Stanford coming up Friday. Do you know how people can watch or follow along you and or Florida State?
I haven't heard any live stream information,
Okay.
but I will share as soon as I hear some.
Okay.
I think everything in our sport's kind of been last minute, so we just kind of figure it out as we go.
Always ragtag, spontaneous.
It's on brand. So.
Yeah. Well, safe travels. Give Brooke and the rest of the Seminoles my best, and I'll be following along.
Sweet, I'll do that. Thanks so much.
All right, Lefty. Thanks for chatting. Have a great rest of the day.
Okay, you too.
Thanks,
Bye.
Sarah.